Voila! Welcome to the Amanda Natanda Show. I'm Amanda and thank you guys for watching. I am so super excited about today's episode because joining me is an amazing woman here in Alberta. Not just Calgary, not just Edmonton, but Alberta, and even just going all around the world promoting the country. And are we going around the world yet?
Yes, we've done a launch in Melbourne.
Hey! Guys. Yeah, I'm sitting with the pregnant person. Yeah, I'm so sorry if you're not. But anyway, please help me welcome Auntie Spiwe Kachidza-Mapfumo. Thank you for coming on the show, Auntie.
Thank you, Natanda.
And it's so amazing to have you here. I was like, hey, sister, for me, I'm going to be having prominent people. If you don't consider yourself prominent, to me, you are.
That's right.
There we go. It's so lovely to have you here. You already know that Canada welcomes and embraces diversity, and knowing that we come from the same place but different at the same time. Mind telling the world where you come from, where you were born, and when you came to Canada?
I was born in Mutoko in Rhodesia then,
right.
Before independence.
Right.
And I grew up in Mutoko,
yeah.
And went to boarding school, and went to school in Harare,
yeah.
Salisbury then. Yeah. And then when I finished high school, I went to the United States in 1975 to go to university. Mm-hmm. And then after university, when I finished grad school, finished my master's degree, I went back to a new Zimbabwe.
Right.
Because that was 1981 when we got our independence.
Right.
And
which is where I was born now.
Yes, because the born phase, you guys were born after Zimbabwe was an independent country.
Right.
And when I went back, I got a job and started my career. I worked for ZBC as a broadcast journalist. I worked for Ziana when they started the news agency. And
my mom used to call me Ziana reporter.
Because you used to talk a lot.
There you go, exactly! I even mentioned it this one time. I was like, yeah, my mom used to call me Ziana reporter because I used to talk a lot and I still talk a lot. But I'm good. I enjoy it. Yeah.
So after I finished when I was in Zimbabwe, went on in journalism, in public relations, and then my husband passed away and my son had gone to school in Australia. Okay. And then I moved to Canada in 2005. And I've been here since 2005, yeah.
Oh, okay. And so how has been the transition from, say, Rhodesia, the States, Zimbabwe, then Canada?
My life has been a life of transitions, really, so to speak. Right. And I look back where I came from, and way back then, going to the United States in 1975 was really quite an eye-opener. Mm-hmm. I was just 20 when I went to the US and encountered things that I'd never thought of. Right. The time when I got to the United States, those were days when Black consciousness was big. Wow. Was big, and it brought a whole new perspective of being a Black person, mm-hmm. Different from what I knew when I was back home. Mm-hmm. When you were growing up in a country where majority of people are Black, mm-hmm. you are really not conscious of being Black. Right. Because that's all you know.
Yeah, because that's all you. That's normal.
You know. Yes, you are Black. Your parents are Black. Your friends are Black, and your neighborhood is Black. Mm-hmm. Yes, there was that piece, the political piece, mm-hmm. but because I was a child, and when we were in high school, that's when really it became very clear to us that there is something going on. There's a revolution. There's something changing in this country. People were going to Mozambique to fight for the independence of Zimbabwe. But from a child's mind, you don't always think of it that way.
Yes. Okay, so it was fought in Mozambique and Zimbabwe, or just Mozambique. Like I have never had an interest in history, unfortunately. Okay. But it's just one of those. We thought it was the battlefield was in Zimbabwe.
I tell you what, let me step back to the 60s when I was a child.
Right.
Okay. In Highfields, for instance, that's when the conscientization of the black population was starting to come up.
Okay.
ZAPU was really big. I remember that. And the young men, African men in the African township were raising awareness of the need to change the system in Zimbabwe, in Rhodesia then.
Yeah.
And so people started going to Mozambique slowly. Across the border to go and fight.
Okay.
And by mid-70s, people were going to Mozambique en masse. And a lot of students who were in mission schools in the Mutoko, and I remember when I was in high school, a group of children were taken from St. Albert's School by the Congress. The boys had to go there because they needed manpower. So they would go and get young guys to go and join the army. You didn't choose to go. You had to go and do your duty.
How about running away?
I don't know. They would just arrive at the school at night and take the whole school to go to
that's
Mozambique.
boarding school.
Boarding school. People were in boarding schools in this outskirts.
And how about parents? Would parents be alert?
They would just be told that the children had gone, yes. And there were several schools where kids went that way to Mozambique, and they trained them to fight. And the fight, was they would cross over and come to Zimbabwe to fight the Rhodesian army. But a lot of them were in Mozambique. Most of the war was fought in Mozambique and in Zambia.
Okay, wow.
So that's what happened during those times in the 60s, late 60s and in the mid 70s. But that time, that's when I left and I went to the United States to go to school.
Right.
And a lot of people I went to school with went to Mozambique. Some of them didn't make it back.
Jesus Christ! Wow, that's really painful. And so, how was the transition in terms of culture shock? Right, just even the whole idea of you left when there was a war, you knew there was a war that you didn't quite witness, and then going to the States, you witnessed that. That's when you noticed, oh, really, I'm black. Like noticing who you are, noticing your culture, and then now coming back to New Zimbabwe. Right, was their culture shock, change thoughts, or anything?
Course,
as a young girl.
As a young girl, by the time I came back to Zimbabwe, I was in my mid-20s.
Okay.
I was a woman, and I had changed. And how I looked at myself as a person was completely different from the girl who left Rhodesia to go to America. And my confidence had also had changed.
Right.
And understanding of who I was as a woman had changed.
And knowing your rights.
Of course.
There we go.
And again, when I go to the States, those were the days of feminism.
Right.
It was upset. And I remember Gloria Steinman coming to our university and talking to us about what it means for a girl child. Yeah. And what is it? When we talk of feminism, what does it mean? And for me, because I was now... my mind has shifted and understanding things differently. I also started looking at it as this feminism, is it just a Western thing or does it apply to us?
Yeah.
And I started looking at how I was raised and looking at the strength in my grandparents, for instance. They never went to school, and giving a comparison on those women were feminists. And I looked at it, those women were strong, because for me, the tenets of what we understood as feminism, what we're fighting for as women. It's not us. Those people just didn't have a word for it.
Yes.
And I started analyzing and looking at it maybe from an intellectual point of view.
Yes.
That what does it mean? Is it a new thing? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's new because there's a word we give to these kind of things.
Yeah.
And I thought of my grandparents and probably most people's grandparents who polygamy was, that's how things were then. My grandmother and maybe a whole lot of people's grandmothers, they raised children on their own.
Right.
The fathers or their husbands would go to work in South Africa for years and leave them with like 4 or 5 children and raise them on their own. And then I look at it and said, so maybe what they look at as feminism here is slightly different from where I come from, but I knew I was from a line of very strong women.
we thought feminism, maybe like you're saying, once you get out you get to know more due to exposure, right? And then you're like, oh, it's feminism. But then back home it's because back then for us we didn't have a name for it, right?
That's right.
And then now it's getting out because of social media. Everything is just different and just coming out, and thanks to social media, we thank you. Thank you for that. And so what brought about the idea of compiling, let's talk about Township Girls. Amazing book, guys. A book to get, and you will know why by the end of this, right? So what brought about the idea of compiling stories of women who grew up in two countries, basically, because hence the reason the crossover generation.
That's right.
Right?
You grew up in two worlds.
In two worlds, the
that's
same
right.
country, right?
Yes, that's right.
So do you mind telling us why you came about with the title Township Girls and then the crossover generation?
See,
how the shoes.
Yeah. From there to high heels.
Right.
I like that. Crossing over and that's where we are, right?
Yeah.
These three women who compiled it, Farah Kisaunga Nomsa and Wadzanai Garu, they decided, look, two of them met at school, picking up kids at lunchtime, taking their kids home.
Right. Yeah.
Like they could do now.
Yeah.
And then someone said, do you remember when we were growing up, how things were so different?
Yeah.
Growing up in Bamfakos and Highfields.
Yeah.
And said, they started talking and said, it would be nice to compile stories of when we were growing up and put them together in a book. And they said, brilliant. And
reaching out to other women who were out of Canada, right?
Yeah. Most of those were in Zimbabwe, because it took about 6-7 years to put it together.
Really?
Digital again, thanks to computers and stuff. Yeah, because nobody really sat together and said, no, we're writing this. No, they reached out to these women. Would you like to contribute? They reached out to me. I think I was the last one to put my stories together. Yeah. And then we decided to write about growing up in Zimbabwe. Really, it wasn't like a political expose. It was pretty much stories coming from the mouth of babes. How we grew up, how we enjoyed growing up in Rhodesia. Then the little things that we remember, the big things that we remember, those who were there during the war, what it was like there, how did they feel listening to the guns, listening to stories of their friends going to Mozambique. So it really pretty much is a compilation of stories of women who grew up during independence, pre-independence Zimbabwe. And then, we're all over the place. Some of them were overseas, some were born in England and went back to Rhodesia in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Yes, some of those stories where they grew up in a place where they spoke English and had to go back to Zimbabwe with their parents in the 70s and had to learn to speak Shona. And they're Zimbabweans, they were raised by, but their parents were in the diaspora. And then growing up there and crossing over then to the new independent Zimbabwe, what it was like. And most of them have got careers, they're all over the world doing amazing things. Some are doctors and teachers, writers, accountants, and running their own businesses.
And it's very inspirational when I was reading it, right? I was like, oh wow, it makes me want to learn more of where I come from, my culture. Especially when you hear from somebody who's lived a different life too, right? To say, we grew up in a world, not in a digital world. I know I'm a millennial, yes, I get it. But we also grew up playing outside, the games, and you see today's generation, like the Gen Zs, they're always digital, on their phone and whatever. I'm like, guys, you never enjoyed life. And then we read your generation as well, right? To say, oh wow, they also had it different, right? It was even way different than ours, we thought, And it's so amazing just reading it and just getting to learn just history as well. Right, history from a story point of view.
That's right.
Right, and it makes it easy to read it
because you can relate to.
Because I can relate to
look at us and this is a real person.
Right.
I'm not Stanley. Or Sister John Rhodes.
Right.
We are people, and I think when the millennials, they're really enjoying this. Whenever I do the book launch, I'm getting more attention and maybe excitement from the millennials.
Oh
because they're like, because we I probably would be their mother.
Yeah.
Or most of them would be same age as you guys, same age as my son.
Right.
But you might never have known how it was like. Never played candor. You never played nodo.
That's the thing too, right? Because when I put this on social media, social media, I have my cousin as well, who also grew up in England, and she's like, oh my gosh, I want to know. I want it, because it's exciting, right, to know what I missed out, right? And how can we bring it back?
That's right.
Bring it back.
That's right.
Right? Because it's always fun, right? So a lot of people, especially like you say, millennials, they're so interested in the book. So I was like, you know what, guys, don't worry. We got books, they're coming, and we'll tell you more where to get them. So it is actually a lovely book, and thank you so much for compiling this with 30 other women, right? Because it's total 31 women, right? Which is fun. Need to read. So tell us about life living in with like you personally. When I read your story. And the life that you lived with a disability, then post surgery, right? Was there a change in your confidence or the way people treated you?
I was very lucky because when I was born, if you read my book, when I was born, my parents had my two brothers. And for 10 years, they tried to have another child and nothing happened. And as my mother always used to say in the book, I pointed out, my mother was a very deeply spiritual person, and she never said I prayed. Right. She said I spoke to God every day, every night, and every morning. I wanted a child. I spoke to God. And I always tease them to say, people of these days, probably I would say my mom had God's Twitter account, because she made it sound to like, this is me again.
Exactly.
Still looking
hey
for
God,
a baby.
I'm still looking for a baby, right?
Yeah, and 10 years, after 10 years, she conceived, and then
miracle baby.
And so I never really struggled with any bullying of any sort. And also by the time when I was born, my father was I was 4 years old when my father went into business. So I never had anybody bullying me. A lot of other kids wanted to be in my position. Yeah, they wanted to be my friends, and nobody.
And just the whole idea back home. Oh yeah, you're the businessman's child. You're the businessman's
so do you eat sweets every day?
Every day, exactly. Yeah.
And so as a result,
and for those who don't know, sweets are candy.
Yeah, candy. That's right.
Right.
So I never had any problems with anybody looking at me as somebody with a disability. And when I had my foot fixed, when I had the operation, and I could walk like anybody else. I did walk with a slight limit. I still do sometimes, unless you really know and you look, you wouldn't know.
No. Okay.
Yeah. And so it never really bothered me because I had a very supportive family. Okay. And I was such an extrovert. I was such a child full of life, and bubbly child, and so I never really felt that.
And then when you but then again, come to think of it, like you're saying, bubbly child, energetic, and everything. I think of how they would consider back home it's normal, but here it's HDD, you're too hype, and right. I know, right? But then I'm like, it's normal, like like it's normal. That's how a child is supposed to be. If you're an extrovert, that's who you are.
Yeah,
right.
I never apologize for that. It's taken me places, and I'm confident, I'm okay.
Right.
I've got my own opinions about things, and I don't keep them to myself.
So exactly. Everybody has rights to their own opinion.
Right. And I think that's what we should try to encourage our children to bring out the best in them.
The best in them. That is so amazing and funny. But then also disclaimer, when you mentioned that your mom spoke to God, and for 10 years waiting for a child, and to the single people out there, I just thought I should put this up. I have to put it here.
You have to.
This is evidence to say you can always wait for your right person, right? I know we're living in a world where we have social media, and there's pressure on social media, people posting couple pictures, and some people thinking, oh my gosh, I am FOMO, fear of missing out and all that jazz. There's nothing called missing out, really. There's always time.
we'll talk about that piece about young women,
right,
and all this thing about wanting to fit in. You've got it. That'll be part. I don't want it to.
For now,
we'll
get back.
We'll get
so
back
that one, I just want to say disclaimer. Wait, here's evidence of somebody whose mother waited for, and we're sitting with her today because of just waiting and being patient and just trusting God for those who are believers, right? Trusting God to say, God will bring it through, we'll see you through, and it will happen at the right time, which is pretty cool. I just thought I should put that disclaimer. But anyway, fun stuff, really cool. And we're gonna get into that topic.
Okay.
So before we get there, so talk about the power of speaking life into your children. You kind of mentioned that, right? And even reading the book on page 169, where your dad literally, something that makes a child believe in themselves, right? And your dad saying, you wrote, my father who adored me always told me that I could do anything I wanted, and I believed him. What made you want to believe him, to say, okay, not have doubts? Let's start with that, right? To say, but you don't know me, Dad. Like your father, I am Spiwe.
The first man I knew who truly adored me, and I didn't have to question it, was my father.
Right.
And I always laugh when you talk to people from the West. Did your parents tell you that they loved you? Maybe not in those words, but they showed me that they loved me. They didn't need to say that.
And sometimes words, yeah, exactly. Words may not mean anything if you don't.
It's nice,
action does it. Yeah,
but it's what somebody does to you. You know it. You know it. And I there was no reason why I would doubt my dad.
Okay.
My father was a boastful person. He was tough as nails, but the most beautiful man I've never known in my life, and who believed in me from the time when I was a child.
Right.
And there was no reason for me to doubt him.
Right.
And he made resources available for me, and he told me I would sell my last pair of shoes to make sure that you go to school and you're done. You say, I'm done.
Up to you.
Yes, because
but everything is there.
Yes, I will do everything. Maybe not as that everything is here, but she said I will do everything to make sure that you get the opportunity to get anything you want.
Yeah.
And when it came to school, my father told me that your first husband is education.
Because a man on their own can leave you anytime.
Yes, he said your education
away.
will never.
Yeah,
even when I'm no longer there, because I was lucky because I don't ever remember needing something and not getting it because it's not available. I was lucky that way. And for him to tell me that I want to equip you to make sure that you will always have what you want because you can work for yourself.
Right. Let's talk about just speaking life into children as a parent. Because we know with the other parents out there who tell their children you'll never amount to anything, but what are you doing as a parent to make them amount to something?
Parents who do that, hurt people.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
Hurt parents hurt other people, including their children. Okay. And I think it's absolutely important to make your children believe in themselves. Because if they don't, then they are forever being nailed down. It's hard to stand up. It's very hard to stand up. But when a person is a parent is there and always positive, that's the word you know. That is the word you know. I can't help but point out when I went to Australia in September to do the launch. I'd gone to visit my son and my 4 grandkids in Australia. My son is 34.
Right.
He's a father of 4 children. He's an only child and he's a father of 4 children.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Speaking power, speaking whatever into children. My son believed it because that's another story how I got around to having my son. I couldn't help watching him when I was doing the launch and they're talking to me like this about this book, the smile on his face. Because he said, Mommy, I am so proud of you. I am so proud of this book. I am so proud of all the aunties who wrote this book. This is so important.
Yeah,
there were 52.
It is very.
There were 52 people at the launch and it was just amazing. But children believe what they've been told.
That's true.
And when they see a parent who who is moving forward always, positive about things, dreaming about big things. They can't help but be that.
Yeah.
But when you live with parents who are damaged parents, then the damage children.
That's true. I hope you're listening, parents. Please speak life into your kids so that they can just prosper and just be who they created to be, right? Because it gives them confidence to explore themselves, to know who they are, right, as an individual, and say, okay, I think I can do this, or I need to do this way, and then just the support system is good enough, right? Which is so amazing. So let's talk about back in the days, how our grandparents, your parents, funny enough,
That's
right, your parents, our grandparents had that special something set, example, like maybe China teaware, right, and or even cutlery, like sometimes they had that huge box. So I remember my mom had a huge from her wedding, never used it,
of course,
at all. She was like, no, I'm not opening this because I got it from my brother. Me, I'm thinking, hey, forks and knives, they're supposed to be used for eating. Let's talk about parents and grandparents having those displays and whatever, like
display cabinets. It was a major thing, right?
It was when I was reading. It was like, it brought back
then
memories.
they just had that little tea set which was there,
right?
Which was only brought up. This one was only brought when Father Giovanni passes through the shop. Because this white pastor, priest from all sorts of
Roman
Catholic, so that's what the brother and sister says, can you make some tea for Father Giovanni?
Yeah.
Then they'll be drinking tea there.
Right.
And I'm like, Father Giovanni, I wish you knew that. Sister is never brought out.
Just for you.
Yes.
So what's it like? Like, okay, just the thought of it. Do you think we've lost our culture in that sense, per se, or like our generation now?
Well,
because I don't think I would do that. Me, I would think,
things have evolved.
Right.
Things have evolved, and people have more spending power.
Okay.
And then they have more things, more material things.
To focus on, to look at.
Of course. I mean, you can go to, and buy Walmart or wherever and buy 3-4 different sets. I like this because it's got an African design. I like this because I like this color. But those days it wasn't like that.
Right.
If you've got something like that, they'll hold on to it.
Right.
And I'm sure if you ask any of your friends, they'll tell you that, when Gogo died, all these things were brought up, tea sets and things which they were never used. They were just kept there to be distributed to a relative. One gets a cup, the other one gets a saucer, the other one gets a... It's ridiculous, right? But that's how it was.
I know,
because it was like when you pass on, so of course you have to have some nice things. You can't always like wait for plastic stuff.
Right, exactly.
They had to have those special things. And I think it's nice.
It's nice, right? And I think I wish we could just I'll bring that in my house. I'll bring it back. And it would be what they call it. They call it
antique.
Antique.
Yes,
exactly.
They become antique when they have been there for much longer time. But just to have something that you hold on, and they don't have to be Western things. I wish we could inculcate in our children.
Yes.
Just like I see you. We're all going ethnic now.
Right.
Wearing jewelry and African things.
Stuff,
and, I think we should instill that in our children so that they will have a positive image. Yeah, they grow up with positive image of our culture without looking at it in a negative way or in a disparaging manner.
Right.
For them to grow up and you keep these things, and then when they're 40, say, my grandmother, she used to do this TV thing, and this was in 2019. Maybe that time would be 2035.
Yeah.
And said this was her jewelry.
Right.
I think it's important to do that.
Shout out to my grandkids.
Yeah.
So when you see this, shout out to you.
Yes, I think it's very important.
Yeah, it is. Wow, that is so cool. It is a new generation.
We've got to change the narrative now.
Right, the narrative. And so how best can we do that though? Changing the narrative.
It's entirely up to us because I see a lot of young mothers or young people, your age group, millennials, who some are really focused and some who live their life on the Kardashian life.
Right.
No. We've got to change the narrative.
Yeah.
We've got to feel okay with who we are. We've got to talk about things that affect us as Black people because you know what? We have to demystify this Kardashian thing.
Right.
I've got no problem with it on television, but when it comes to people, my people, our culture, young people like yourselves who we're getting it wrong somewhere.
Oh, trust. As in that, I can totally relate and speak for myself. That I also came with the perception of, oh yeah, I'm going to Canada, so I'm gonna be this, because I never got to experience the cultural side of life. I grew up in the city, but then when you come here and then you try and get on that other Kardashian type of life, and you realize it's not life really. When you come to think about it, right? It's not really life until you go back to your roots and embrace it.
That's right.
It's only when you get to live your life and say, I enjoy who I am. Even when I got my hair cut, my mom was shocked. You never cut your hair, like, what? You know, because I used to think hair is beauty. I used to think, I felt like I was a slave to my own hair.
You probably were. You probably were. You slave to your wigs, your fancy or whatever, and you don't think. Let's talk to somebody who says they sleep in their wig.
That's the thing. Or sleep in makeup because they want to wake. Oh, trust. I know. Or even wake up at 4 a.m. before their husbands, just so. I'm like, no. You know, and me there's one time I went on one date, I think that's when I was kind of growing and getting to know me and embracing my culture and my beauty and everything. One time I was like, no, you know what, please don't be surprised. Me, I'm on the first date right there. I'm like, don't be surprised, I just need to do something for this and that. He's like, what are you doing? Me, I remove my lashes one by one. Yeah! I'm like, but then it's when you become comfortable who you are, right? Embracing your culture.
Maybe it's easier for me to say because I'm in my mid-60s. Right. So it's easier for me to say because where I am, absolutely nothing. Honestly,
but still, it has nothing to do though with. I think maybe you could be right. You could be right, but because younger people, maybe in my early 20s, I used to be cautious about everything.
I was 22. I was 20 and I was also quite conscious of it and what I expected from guys and what I needed to do. It was something different. But now what I'm saying, where I am right now, no, it's too much work. You know? And if you ask me, it's really not worth it. I was young too, like yourself. And not much has changed. Believe me or not.
Right.
Much. When I was 20, I don't know how old you were when you came to Canada. I was 20 when I was 22. So it's the same thing. We live the same life. We experience the same, pretty much the same things. Of course, things have changed over the. But I was in a different world where I was independent. I was on my own, and I could buy things that I wanted and things that I thought would look real. I've got this wig of mine, which a picture of mine. Where I looked like Donna Summer and I had this huge weekend. Those were the days. But if you look at it, it's not different from what you are now. No. But with Ed now, I'm talking to you as Spiwe, like you said.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's nothing to it.
Right.
There's nothing to it. If you don't work the you in you as you grow, you will be desperate 60-year-old.
Yeah.
And things are sagging and you're getting old and you can't handle that because this is things happening with your body. But if you've worked on yourself, I cut my hair 5 years ago. I cut my hair every 10 days. And I don't cut. I'm bald. I have no hair. And each time my hair grows, it's like 2 weeks. Oh, I feel, to think that I used to believe I needed to have hair and just wear big wigs and afro wigs. That was then, this is now. And I don't think if I had not changed my thinking and prioritized things that are important, I'll be desperate 60-some-year-old person. I would, because I'll be battling to try to look like you, and I can't.
Right? Oh my God.
So I mean, the work is inside.
Work on the inside.
The outside will be okay. You still watch Kardashians, and believe me, Kim will be like me someday. Even if she prays, she's gonna be like me.
Shout out to Kim.
Sorry, Kim. I mean no harm, but that's what it is.
That's what it is. So let's get into this whole topic of these young women, young us. Like especially the millennials, where we see and think that marriage is everything. It's been engraved in our minds that, oh my gosh, if you don't get married, you're considered a failure more than anything, which is sad. It is really sad, to the point that I guess maybe, not that I'm saying I'm any better than anybody, but I grew up with a mother who taught me education first, career, and then a husband can come, and then kids and all that jazz, right? But then when you feel like you're in a position where I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be settling for less. And you see people settling for less, and people will be like, oh, but then I'm married, you're not. And you know, like, it makes you feel like you're nobody. Right?
It's unfortunate.
It's sad,
It's
right?
unfortunate.
But then again, you know your power too, to say no. Like, yeah. I have the right to choose what I want and to wait for the right thing and to accomplish a lot in life, and that has to be a bonus more than anything is the way I think.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's an unfortunate thing is our culture still wants to indoctrinate girl child to believe that their biggest prize is to be married.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I got married. I was married for 23 years before my husband passed. You know, we had one child, and but even when I got married, and I'm not saying it because I never thought marriage is. I could never dream of myself with a wedding dress. I don't know. I never did. Maybe for me, I was thrown into a bigger world when I was younger, where I learned to want to be this, want to be that as me.
As you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marriage can, yes.
Yeah.
My
and it has to come, right? Like as in
it
when
has
you're
to,
in your path.
It has to, but it doesn't have to.
Okay.
Marriage is not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not everybody was cut for marriage.
Yeah.
I've run into some young girls who said, well, you know what? I don't really want to have children. And people say, what kind of black woman would want a child? You're an African, how can you not want a child?
Wow.
And I know some people who were blessed with a whole bunch of children, and they're horrible mothers.
Yeah, that's true.
And they are just not cut to be mothers. Yeah? So it's the same thing. Some people who, it's not everybody was meant for marriage at all. Wow. Some people do fantastic and very well on their own. There are more successes in life than just being a married woman.
Right.
And I'm not saying marriage is wrong. Right. No, for those where it works, then fine. But a lot of people, young people who see their compatriots who are married, they have no idea what's in
happening.
Those homes. It's just that, oh, she's missing such as a husband. Hey, you know, I saw that they went on vacation. There is more to it because you're going to have to live with you.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work and you stay in there, you're going to go home in a body bag one day.
Yeah.
And some people are doing that. They are not being murdered, but the emotions that come with that. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right.
It.
And if you stay in there, you get blood pressure, people die because of stress and mental health, which is brought upon because of pressure.
Right.
Because
and the whole idea of, I have to stay.
Yeah, no.
I have to stay.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If it's not working,
don't.
There is a life after that.
Yeah.
Because there was a life before this. So why?
Yeah.
Why are you doing? And I think people my age group and older, we have to stop right now from pushing young girls to believe that they have to be married.
Yeah.
And
biological clock. You're told the biological clock. You're told you want to die alone. You're told it's a lot of things.
Biological clock. If you want to have a child, you don't have to have a man.
Man, that's the thing.
And it's okay to have a man and be married and raise a family, but it's not okay to raise a family in toxic environment like that. These kids, you are ruining these kids. It's horrible growing up with parents who don't like each other. And what does it mean to a boy child, for instance, when they grow up with a father who is nasty, doesn't talk to mom and whatever, and you know, the whole thing is just not.
And kids pay attention.
They do, and they are going to grow up to be exactly those kinds.
Think it's normal. Think it's normal. So young girls, you heard, millennials. Don't think it's too late.
You are different.
You. Exactly.
Yeah. No, millennials are different.
Yeah.
And we cannot make them be like us because it's a different world. It's a digital world. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And we have to change with the times.
Yeah.
And it's not only them. It's not only like girls from our communities.
Right.
In general, this getting married, it's becoming a rare thing now. Even you ask white people who are Canadians, they are just not, I can't say there aren't enough men to get married to, but people's expectations of life is totally different from my mother's, my grandmother's.
Right.
It's completely different. So, Move with the times.
Pay attention. Move with the time. Come on now. Let's
Yeah,
stop living in the
watching
ancient
TV.
day. And stop. And create your own TV.
Oh yeah.
Be you.
You inspire yourself, yeah.
Right? That is so awesome. So back to like Township Girls. Where can people get this book? And where can people get this book? Or
yeah, you can get Township Girls on Amazon.
Okay.
You can get it on Kindle, and and I do have a couple of books around.
Yeah.
If they want to reach out, phone me.
Yeah.
My number.
We will put all the details.
Okay.
Right? We'll
They
put
can contact me, and people can get the book.
Right.
Yeah.
And guys, this is a must read book, and especially I urge young girls, especially from Zimbabwe who are in the diaspora, this is an eye-opener for you to get to know and understand yourself. That is how I felt when I read this book, right? And I'm like, okay, I think this would be educational to young girls who have not really gotten to explore their culture and getting to know who they are, just hearing the other generation, right, of our culture, to say, wow, okay, this is different, this is nice, right, and get to know themselves, right. It doesn't necessarily mean that we need to go back into your times, but just to give a general idea what brought about you guys and us as we are now, right.
You can't fly unless you know where you're coming from.
That's
really
true.
And,
that is so true.
Yeah, and these are just beautiful stories from the eyes of kids growing up then.
Yeah.
We've come a long way.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Zimbabwe Girls, you understand, it'll be called. So I don't think I was about to say it. What do we used to call the stories back home in short? Ngano. Exactly. They sound like Ngano when you're reading, right?
Yes,
and then you're like, oh. And then there's the name changes, like from Rhodesia to New Zimbabwe, like Harare, Salisbury, and all that jazz, and the glossary with. I had to highlight.
Yeah, of course.
Musalad. I love that. You know, it's got all the even slang words in Shona translated to English for those who do not understand, especially the other Canadians who will be reading this and be like, oh, okay, what does Musalad mean if you see it in the book? And it has the meaning in there. And thank you so much, Auntie Spiwe, for sitting with me here and just sharing with the viewers who you are and about Township Girls and just giving advice to the young girls out there, right? And it really means a lot, and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And we look forward to having you back with your book.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Next summer.
There we go. She's giving us the timeline, guys. Pressure. Season 5, we're gonna be having at Spiwe on the Amanda Latanda show with her book and with a live audience. So yeah, we look forward to that, and thank you so much for your time. All right, and to the viewers, thank you for watching. Keep watching. If you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button down here and share with your friends, family, because we're still going to be getting more guests, interesting guests, prominent and upcoming. So it's still going to be fun, and look out for the revamp. I'm just waiting for the revamp. I'm excited for that. So stay tuned, and remember, little girls with dreams become women of vision. Take